The United States of America no longer has anyone to negotiate with in Iran. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has completely taken control of Iran, pushing aside moderate politicians and diplomats. The leader of the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has effectively taken control of the Iranian army, all power in the country, and importantly, the Iranian negotiating team that used to meet with the Americans. Moreover, there are even reports that General Vahidi has pushed aside even the supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. And here, the rumors from a month ago are being confirmed that Mojtaba was just a cover for the military's takeover of power, since the supreme leader himself has been incapacitated after his injuries. And now, there are more and more signs that the military has indeed taken full control of power in Iran, and they are dictating to the politicians what to do and how to do it. So let's break down this whole story right now. My name is Alexei Pichi. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like this episode, and leave any comment under the video. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pichi News. The link is in the description of this video. So, the day before, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, announced the extension of the truce with Iran. On Tuesday, April 21, as stated in the White House, they are waiting for a response from the new Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic, Mojtaba Khamenei, to the latest proposal regarding the terms for ending the war. Iranian representatives told mediators that they are waiting for the green light from Khamenei to resume negotiations with Washington. But it's not that simple here. According to Axios, in recent days there has been an intense struggle within the Iranian leadership over how to proceed in negotiations with the Americans and who is actually in charge of the country. The country's civilian leaders, including the Speaker of Parliament Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, support continuing diplomacy with the goal of extending the ceasefire and ultimately reaching a peace agreement. It was exactly them who were sending signals to the Americans that they were ready to make compromises, even on the nuclear program, and it was specifically Araghchi. Araghchi, let me remind you, announced on Friday the opening of the Hormuz Strait, which remained open for less than a day since the Iranian military opposed the opening and opened fire on the tankers. On the other hand, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, General Ahmad Vahidi, and his deputies refused to make concessions to the Americans and see no point in the negotiation process as long as the US remains. The US maintains the naval blockade of the Hormuz Strait. Moreover, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps called to take the initiative and resume massive bombardments first, without waiting for the US to exit the ceasefire. At the same time, the seizure of an Iranian cargo ship in the Arabian Sea by American forces deepened the internal division. And here I should note that on April 21, the Iranian delegation refused to come to Pakistan to meet with American negotiators. Tehran cited violations of the ceasefire by the US, as well as Washington's excessive conditions for a truce, as the reasons. But in reality, it became known that the IRGC commander, General Vahidi, forbade Iranian diplomats from negotiating. And now there are insider reports that the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Major General Ahmad Vahidi, and members of his inner circle have taken control of the Islamic Republic of Iran. This is evidenced by Iran's attack on ships attempting to pass through the Hormuz Strait and Tehran's refusal to join peace talks with the US this week. This conclusion is also reached by the Washington Institute for the Study of War. They add that all power in Iran now belongs to General Ahmad Vahidi. Suddenly, the shift toward a hard line also shows that more moderate members of the Iranian leadership, including Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, have been pushed into the background. And now Vahidi has already started, as they say, to show his teeth to Iran's civilian politicians. The head of Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Abbas Araghchi, initially agreed to open the Hormuz Strait over the weekend, after reaching a consensus with the Donald Trump administration, and especially after that, when Israel stopped firing on Lebanon. But the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps demanded that the strait remain closed because of the American blockade of Iranian ports. But to make it clear who is in charge here, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps attacked a tanker in the strait on the very first day it was opened. And here's an interesting point. It is reported that Vahidi, and here's where it gets really interesting, It is reported that General Vahidi received support. Ahmed Bagher Zalghadr, he is the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council and a veteran of the Corps, for control over the strait, which further strengthened Vahidi's power over Iran. I should note that Zalghadr is the successor of Ali Larijani, who was eliminated by Israel in March. This is exactly what caused the confusion in recent days. Trump has already rushed to announce that a peace deal is almost ready. He even promised peace as early as Monday. At that time, there was already a struggle for power. The alliance of Vahidi and Zalghadr. It actually goes far beyond a military blockade. The commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps involved his ally in the Iranian delegation earlier this month. That is Vahidi. He insisted that his man, that is Zalghadr, be included. He attended the negotiations with the Americans. It might seem he wasn't needed, but he was. Zalghadr was specifically assigned to the negotiation group that met with the Americans in order to make sure that the Iranian delegation is following the orders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and of the Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, who took his father's place at the insistence of the Revolutionary Guard. In fact, this has been stated for a long time that Mojtaba Khamenei became the new supreme leader precisely because he was supported by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Now, the Washington Institute for the Study of War is addressing this topic. Quote, Zalghadr sent a complaint to the high-ranking leaders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, almost certainly including Vahidi, about the fact that Arakchi exceeded his mandate during the negotiations, showing flexibility regarding Iran's support for the axis of resistance. That is, the resistance, these are the proxy forces, Hamas, Hezbollah, and so on. The point is that civilian politicians like Ghalibaf and Arakchi really agreed to make concessions. And you heard about these concessions from American officials. But then Iran suddenly made it clear that it would not participate in peace talks with the Americans. It is reported that the anger of that very Zalghadr, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, made high-ranking leaders in Tehran, including the former head of the intelligence department of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and a longtime member of the Inner Circle, take action. Mojtaba Khamenei hastened to recall the negotiating delegation back to Tehran and ordered them not to enter into negotiations anymore without the military's permission. As a result, so this alliance between Vahidi and Zalghadr made him the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the main decision-maker in Iran. Yes, of course, you might say that there is also the supreme leader of Iran, Mojtaba Khamenei. But the thing is, he was wounded during the first airstrikes by the US and Israel, as a result of which his father and other high-ranking officials were killed. And since then, no one has seen him. And in recent weeks, he hasn't even made any written statements anymore. This puts General Vahidi and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as Arakchi and the leader of the Iranian parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, in a difficult position. Despite their anti-American rhetoric, they are still considered moderate politicians. As a result, General Vahidi took power completely into his own hands. And it is precisely this situation that undermines the negotiations of Arakchi and Ghalibaf with the Americans, because they have no leverage or formal executive authority to influence decision-making. This also undermines the Trump administration's claim that the US is supposedly dealing with a reformed regime after the killing of dozens of high-ranking Iranian officials during the war. You remember how Trump already claimed that regime change in Tehran supposedly happened. And since the date for the continuation of the American-Iranian negotiations has not been set, it remains completely unclear how long Donald Trump will be able to extend the truce while in Tehran the power is being completely seized by the fanatical military units of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel and consider its work important and necessary, you can leave your donation or become a sponsor of this channel. Or you can donate in any way that's convenient for you. All the links and details are in the description of this video. I will be grateful for any support you provide. And subscribe to the Telegram channel Pechi News. The link is also in the video description. That's it for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.